Hey everybody, this is Austin Gould here from Tickets Please. Got a different type of video for you today. As you can tell behind me, I wanted to talk about Halloween Horror Nights, which is coming up in actually a surprising short amount of time. I know summer just started, but we got like 70-ish days, I think, as of time of recording, until Halloween Horror Nights begins. It's always a fun time of year in the theme park to talk about what house has been announced, and I want to predict a couple that I think might be coming or that I'm just hopeful will come. Yeah, but the ones that have already been announced are the non-IP ones, or at least non like Universal IP, are Jack and Oddfellow House, which are like the two main characters of this Halloween Horror Nights. Like Jack and Oddfellow, they've been around before. And then the other one that was just announced today is HR Blood and Guts, which it seems to be a guy that will take you through. He's been in Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando before, but he will take you through different decades of horror through TV, and there will be little vignettes and whatnot. And that one looks really cool and interesting. So I'm excited to see that. And then the IPs that have been announced, one banger and one kind of whatever. You can see behind me there, whatever one I think is the Stranger Things the house coming back to Halloween Horror Nights. They've had houses before, but this one is will probably feature Vecna a lot more of the last season. I'm kind of lukewarm on that. I like Stranger Things, but I don't think it will excel as opposed to years before. I kind of think the style of the first Stranger Things season and the first haunted houses are a little bit better, just with the lights a little creepier, a little more interesting. But that's just my opinion. If you're excited for Stranger Things, I don't want to yuck your yum. But the really interesting one for me is Sinners. Love that movie from last year. Obviously a huge success, great movie. Huge success, a huge movie with Michael B. Jordan. Really excited to see what they do with that, given how good the Terrifier one was last year, and that was kind of like the big horror IP of last year. Now they had a couple, but that was kind of the new one. So I'm really excited to see that. I imagine it'll be in the juke joint or something that akin to that. But very curious, and I think it'll be a very excellent haunted house. So yeah, I'm excited. But I have 8 other ones for you here. Then these are just my predictions slash hopeful thoughts on what IPs might be present at this year's Halloween Horror Nights. And I also have another video where I want to talk a little bit about my dream haunted houses, which I don't think are very likely, but I think that'd be very fun. So without further ado, I want to give a couple of honorable mentions. I think a Darkmoor house, which is the new land in the Epic universe, which is like where Frankenstein and all those guys live. I think that themed house would be very cool. A little bit of cross promotion. I don't think it's very likely, but I just kind of like my whimsy took me there, and I thought that was kind of a fun idea. I also think Five Nights at Freddy's and Jason will both return next year. I think Five Nights has the third movie is coming out next year, and I know that Universal likes to do cross promotion with that. And Jason was one of the most popular houses last year, and so I think they'll be eager to get him back, but I'm not sure if he'll be present this year. And then actually one more honorable mention is the Weapons, the 2025 movie. I really love that movie. It'd be cool to see a haunted house, but I'm not quite sure how they would do a haunted house of Weapons, because it is like kind of like just like suburbia, and there's not too much like that could be scary. I mean, it's a lot that can be scary, but it's more like psychological, like more what's in your head, and it'd be hard to do that. And I'm not sure if that is exactly what they're going for with Horror Nights. If it's there, I'd be very cool and be very excited to see what they're doing. But I'm just not sure. Anyway, that leads me to number 6. So I got 6 houses that I think might appear this year at Halloween Horror Nights. I'm not trying to go for 6 because there's only 6 houses left. I imagine, and there's only 10 houses in total in Orlando. I think 3 will be IP based and 3 will be more Universal, Horror Nights IP based. But these are all IP based because I'm not sure what their Universal is going to do, and those are a little more out there sometimes. So I stuck with IP for these 6, and I'm just trying to get 2 of 6 correct. So we'll see what happens, and I'll make a follow up video later in the year, and we'll see how I did. But my number 6 house is the Evil Dead house. As far as I'm aware, have not done this yet. A great idea for a house, and with all the different movies and the new movie coming out this year, you can do some cross promotion, which I know Universal likes to do, but also you can have it where one scene is set in the cabin from the original, one scene is set in the apartment from Dead Evil Rise. You can have a new setting for the Evil Dead Burn movie, and just a lot of great visuals. There's Deadites. The Evil Dead universe is kind of expansive when it comes to its enemies, and so you can feature a lot of fun stuff there. And I think it'd fit right in to be a great house. Next up at number 5, I have a Blumhouse house. So last year, if you were at Halloween Horror Nights, if you did the Terror Tram over in Hollywood, it was Blumhouse themed. And I know a lot of other people didn't really like that so much. I didn't feel like it worked for the Terror Tram kind of experience. I saw you could walk up to a lot of the scares before the scares happened, and there was a lot of cardboard cutouts and people just kind of walking around. Didn't quite work for me. The cool part of it though is when you walk through the actual Blumhouse, which was like a house that you could walk through that was all creepy themed. And if I think they just did a haunted house and focused on inserting their characters into that house, I actually think that would be pretty effective. Blumhouse has a lot of good stuff there, and I'd be interested in that. Speaking of Blumhouse, even though I know this was Obsession is an indie project, it triggered a memory. I know a lot of people want to see an Obsession themed house here, which would be really, really cool. But that movie just came out, and so I don't think there's any way that would be at this year's Hollywood Horror Nights. But I think, or sorry, Halloween Horror Nights, not Hollywood. But I think it might be at next year. Number three, I have It, or a Pennywise house. I think it was last year. The It TV series was pretty popular and pretty well received. I know there's going to be more seasons of that. And there's also, as far as I'm aware, they haven't had an It direct house at Halloween Horror Nights, and so I think that'd be very cool to see. Obviously, you can do a lot of great stuff with the different forms Pennywise would take. You can take from the old TV special, you can take from the new movies, you can take from the new TV special, and then from the book as well. And so there's a lot to, and people love seeing clowns. Shout out Art the Clown from last year, Terrifier. Number three, this one is a more fun one, but I think they should do it before their license goes out. I think they should do a Simpsons haunted house, but it should be Treehouse of Horror, obviously, the traditional Simpsons Halloween special. It's kind of bewildering that Universal hasn't done this yet since they've had the rights for so long. And as far as I'm aware, they only have the rights for, I think it's 3 or 4 more years. So if they were going to do it, it would have to happen soon. I think they should absolutely do it before it goes. I know the Simpsons land in Hollywood, and I think it's only in Hollywood, is likely on its way out for something other IP based, like Pokemon, maybe someone else. But before that happens, I think it'd be great to utilize the Treehouse of Horror, and you can do a lot of fun creative kills with the way the animation looks. Number two things, one that I think is kind of likely, and one that I love the idea of, is for the Terror Tram, which is only in Hollywood, as far as I'm aware. But I think they should do the Terrifier Tram. You could even call it the Terrifier Tram Tour, the TTT. People going to ride the TTT. I think that'd be very popular. Art was super popular last year, but they had a problem with people taking too many pictures and stopping Art. It'd be a good way to let people take their photos and line up for actual photos with the different Art the clowns. I think that would work a little bit better as well, because Art kind of walks around in his movies a lot more than kind of the Blumhouse people, and I just kind of think it leads to that a bit more. A more fun idea for the Terror Tram would be a Dead by Daylight Terror Tram, which is a video game based IP. If you played it, it has a lot of horror killers like Jason, Freddy's in there, like Xenomorph, Chucky, all that jazz. There's pretty much, if there's a horror franchise, it's in Dead by Daylight somehow. And that's why I think the Terror Tram could work really well with that, because you're going around, you're walking, but you're going around to different places, and you can see these different killers that are trying to kill you, like, in the world of Dead by Daylight, which I think is really fun. They could also do that with a haunted house, but I like the idea of that with the Terror Tram. I think I like the Terrifier Terror Tram a little bit more. I like the alliteration there, but I'll be curious to see if that does take effect, because I think that's a great idea. And my number one most wanted, and hopefully coming this year, it's been heavily rumored, but maybe the rumors were wrong, is a Resident Evil house. There's a Resident Evil house Biohazard in Japan this year that has been announced, which gave a lot of people hope in the States for the Resident Evil one, because Resident Evil is called Biohazard in Japan. But those rumors kind of went by the wayside recently, but I'm still hopeful. I think a Resident Evil house would be great. There's also a new movie coming out this year, and so you can get, a lot of good synergy there. Though I would be excited to see like all the classic enemies from the video games, and maybe even some hero characters like Leon or Ada showing up. That'd be a lot of fun. And I think that would be a very popular house, at least for me. That would be my favorite house to go to. But yeah, those are just a couple predictions I got for you today. Let me know what houses you want to see or think are likely. Let me know what Universal IP houses you think are likely. And yeah, when we have more information, I'll have an update video for you, and I'll keep you posted. But thanks for watching. This has been Awesome Ghoul. Tickets, please. Please follow us, like us, do all that jazz. Thank you.